Hey Bees, I'm Marie from Humblebee and Me, and today we are making an oh so lovely rosewater hydrating toner. So this toner is more of an Asian toner than a North American toner. North American toners often see about like, dry up that oil, get your skin free of sebum, sort of action, often with alcohol in them, which can be irritating and of course is quite drying to the skin. Whereas Asian toners are much more about like, let's hydrate and pH correct and deliver some lovely, lovely things to your epidermis. So what are those lovely things? The watery bit is made of some water, some witch hazel to sort of help perk up your pores. It's mildly astringent, and I've diluted it so this doesn't smell too much like socks, which hazel kind of does, and then some beautiful rose hydrosol. And if you have been using rose water that you've been getting at the grocery store, like your local like Lebanese grocer, get yourself some real rose hydrosol. You don't know what you're missing. I totally thought that rose water from the grocery store was like good enough, and then I got some real rose hydrosol. I was like, no, I was so wrong. Real rose hydrosol is like, oh, where the stuff from the grocery store is like, So yeah, highly recommend it. I've also included two of my favorite B vitamins. So I've got niacinamide and panthenol. So these two B vitamins are amazing. Niacinamide helps downregulate sebum production and helps even out your skin tone. And panthenol is a wonderful humectant and also helps with cellular regeneration, which is super, super cool. Awesome ingredients. I highly recommend getting both of them, especially since they're both really, really inexpensive. In keeping with our moisturizing, hydrating theme, I've got a bunch of humectants in here. So I've got vegetable glycerin, of course, which is a wonderful humectant and is fairly resistant to wash off. So if you're sweating a lot, it'll still kind of stick around for longer and help out. Then I've got a bunch of sodium lactate. So sodium lactate is also an antioxidant in addition to being a really wonderful humectant. It's not as resistant to wash off as glycerin is, which is why we don't use it in a lot of lotions and whatnot, but you probably don't wash your face nearly as often as you wash, say, your hands, so it ends up being a really good choice for face things. And then it also helps with acne, so like, booyah. And then we're including some silk, which has some wonderful sort of film-forming humectant properties, and some aloe vera concentrate, which is, of course, wonderfully soothing. If you don't have the aloe vera concentrate powder, just swap out the water in this recipe for aloe vera juice, and that will 100% do the same thing. I've also included just a titch of Olivem 300. So Olivem 300 is an ester of oleic acid. And so basically what you get is you get oleic acid, which is a wonderful fatty acid that is water soluble. So I really, really love this addition here. I don't really recommend using something like a polysorbate 80 to then try to incorporate another oil because there's just so little here that you'll end up with less of the awesome oils. I mean, you can if you want to, but I really like just the simplicity of just using Olivem 300. You can't use 1000. Olivem 1000 is solid waxy flakes, while Olivem 300 is a lovely thin self-dissolving in water liquid. So they're completely different things, and you can't use them interchangeably, sorry. If you're looking to simplify this recipe, please click through and read the recipe on my blog. It is so much easier for me to communicate all of the different substitutions and simplifications that you can make in writing than it is for me to sort of talk through them. So if you are wondering if you can do this instead of this or leave this out or what you can use instead of this, just please like go to the blog. I've got it all written out there in a great big long bulleted list. So it's super easy for you to go through and figure out what you need. So okay, let's get started. We'll begin by getting our heated phase ready. So this is a 250 milliliter Pyrex beaker, and here I have 16 grams of water. So I'm going to add 10 grams of witch hazel, 1 gram of sodium lactate, and half a gram of vegetable glycerin, 4 grams of Olivem 300, 2 grams of niacinamide, half a gram of hydrolyzed silk. So this is hydrolyzed silk peptides, but if you have hydrolyzed silk powder or amino acids, that will also work, or liquid silk. And 1/4 gram of 200 times concentrated aloe vera powder. If yours is 100 times, you would use twice as much, or sort of so on and so forth, depending on the concentration of your powder. So we're gonna give that a stir here. And we're gonna pop in our water bath. So this here is a shallow, flat bottom saucepan that has about 1 inch or 3 centimeters of water in it, and then a little silicone coaster. So I'm just going to pop this in here and go put this on the stovetop over medium heat for about 20 minutes just to heat it through thoroughly and help everything dissolve. So after about 20 minutes, everything has dissolved, and it's a little cloudy because the Olivem 300 has self-emulsified, which is super cool. So now we're going to add some of our cool down ingredients. So we've reserved the rose water here, and by adding that now, that'll help the whole thing cool down much faster. And we'll add our panthenol while it's still relatively warm so that it can dissolve with the help of sort of the ambient heat. All right, so that's still quite warm. I can feel it through the beaker here. So I'm gonna leave this to cool down before we add our preservative. Give that probably about 10 minutes. So it's been about 10 minutes, and that has cooled down quite nicely. So we're going to add our preservative. So this is 0.25 grams of liquid germall plus. And now we're going to check the pH of this to make sure that it's right around that of our skin, and if it's not, we are going to adjust it so it is. So I've got some pH strips here, and let's sort of clear up our workspace a little bit. And I have a pipette, so thank you to everybody who gave me advice on the last time I did some pH testing and sort of said don't dip your your strips right into your mixture, because they have like a coating on them that you don't want dissolving into your concoctions. I think that sort of looks like it's on about the upper end of 6. So I have here a citric acid solution. So this is 1 part citric acid to 2 parts distilled water. And thank you to Chris, I believe it was, who gave me the tip to just make a buffering solution rather than adding citric acid directly to the mixture. So we're going to add some of this with another clean pipette. I'll start with 1 gram. Okay, well that looks like it's about 5.5. I really do need to get a proper pH meter. These things are kind of just novelty trinkets. They're not useful really at all. All right, time to pop this in our bottle. So I have this lovely frosted glass 50 milliliter bottle, and this is from New Directions, and it was one of their custom ones that actually has NDA embossed on the bottom, and they discontinued it, but they just recontinued. So that makes me happy because I really like these bottles. So let us decant away. And we can pop our lid on there. And that's that. You just made a lovely hydrating rosewater toner. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe. Check the description box below for the full written recipe with amounts in metric and imperial and percents. Don't forget to check out this recipe on my blog too. That's where I tend to do a lot of the more finicky written out stuff. So if you have questions about substitutions or alterations, that is where you're going to find it all written out for you. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.